All right, let's do this. Today, we're diving deep, really deep, into the world of habits.
Okay, yeah, the good ones and the bad ones, right?
Exactly. We've got this awesome summary of James Clear's Atomic Habits,
Classic.
and we're going to figure out how even the tiniest changes can make a huge, easy impact. So, where do we even begin with this?
Well, Clear kicks things off with a story about, British cycling.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
They had this crazy idea to get just 1% better every single day.
Hmm.
And the results were unbelievable.
He honestly blew my mind.
Like huge EE success in the long run, all from these tiny little changes.
It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, right? Like, what does 1% even look like day to day? How'd they actually do that?
That's what's so cool about Clear. He's not just like throwing motivational quotes at you.
Yeah.
It's all grounded in uh, principles like compounding. Like we usually think about it with money.
Yeah, compound interest.
Exactly. But he's saying we could apply that same concept to like personal growth.
Whoa, okay. Mind blown again.
These tiny daily improvements, they start building on each other. And over time, massive results.
So it's not about setting some huge, crazy goal and just hoping for the best.
Nope. It's the consistency, those little, almost invisible actions we take every single day. That's where the magic happens.
Like, I'm starting to see it, but there's got to be more to it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, there's always more.
Like, Clear says systems are even more important than goals. This seems kind of counterintuitive, right?
I know. It's like, what? But think about it. Goals are all about the end result, right?
Yeah.
But systems are about the process, the journey.
Okay.
They make success repeatable no matter what your specific goal is. It's like, remember that example in the summary?
Was it the basketball coach?
Yep, that's the one. He didn't just focus on winning the championship. He built a system of, daily practices.
So it's like build the right habits, trust the process, the results, they'll come naturally.
Exactly. It's all about focusing on those small, consistent actions day after day. That's how you create lasting change.
I like that. So connecting it back to British cycling, it wasn't just about like training harder. It was about the whole system they built around the team.
You got it. Nutrition, sleep, even the mechanics of their bikes. Everything mattered. Every little detail contributed to those 1% improvements.
That's pretty incredible when you think about it. But then there's that whole thing about habits and identity.
Oh, yeah, it's a big one.
Clear says it's not just about doing the habit, it's about becoming the kind of person who does that habit. How do we even wrap our heads around that?
It can be a little mind-bending. It's like, remember that guy who stopped biting his nails just because he got a manicure?
Yeah, he was in the summary. But
Yeah.
honestly, I need a more like relatable example. How does this identity shift actually work?
Okay. Let's say you want to like start waking up earlier.
I do, actually. But my snooze button is my best friend.
Well, instead of just like setting an alarm and forcing yourself out of bed, you start thinking, what would a morning person do?
Interesting.
Like maybe they create a relaxing bedtime routine, avoid screens before bed, prepare breakfast the night before, all those little things.
So it's not just about changing your sleep schedule. You're trying to actually become a morning person.
Exactly. By doing all those little actions, you start seeing yourself differently.
Wow. Okay. I think I'm starting to get it. So, like, you act your way into a new identity, and then those actions start to feel more natural.
Exactly. It becomes less about forcing yourself and more about just being who you are.
And then, boom, those habits, they just stick. They become a part of you.
They become effortless because they're a reflection of your identity. You're no longer fighting against yourself.
I'm really liking this. So far, we've got the power of small gains, the importance of systems, and this whole identity-based habit thing.
We're just scratching the surface.
There's more. My brain's already exploding.
This is where it gets really exciting. Clear gives us actual tools to put all this into practice.
Like his famous 4 laws of behavior change.
Bingo. He breaks down all the sciencey stuff into these 4 simple but super effective laws.
Okay, hit me with it. I'm ready for the next level.
Law number 1. You got to make it obvious. It's all about like understanding how our environment can really shape our behavior. Remember that example from the summary with the hospital
Oh,
cafeteria?
yeah, they rearranged the food to make the healthy stuff more, like, visible, right?
Yep. And guess what? People naturally started picking those healthier options without even thinking about it.
It's crazy how much our surroundings can influence our choices, right? Like, we don't even realize it half the time.
Exactly. It's like our brains are constantly on autopilot,
Yeah.
scanning for cues, and then boom, those cues trigger our actions.
So if we want to build better habits, we got to design our environment to make those good habits super obvious.
And the bad habits, we got to make them less appealing.
Okay, I'm with you. So it's not just about willpower. We can actually, like, hack our surroundings to help us out.
You got it. It's all about removing the friction, the obstacles between us and the habits we want to build.
I dig it. So give me some examples. Like, what if I want to read more?
Okay, so instead of hiding your books in a closet, put them on a table, right out in the open where you can see them.
Makes sense.
Or, like, if you want to exercise in the morning, lay out your workout clothes the night before.
Yeah.
Make it super easy to just get started.
No more excuses.
Exactly. You got to make it obvious. That's law number 1.
Got it. So what's the next step? How do we actually, like, make those habits stick?
Law number 2, make it attractive.
Yeah.
Our brains, they're hardwired to feed pleasure, right? So we got to figure out a way to make those habits enjoyable.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we make something like, I don't know, going to the gym more appealing?
Well, you got to find something you enjoy and then figure out a way to combine it with the habit you're trying to build.
Like, what, bribe myself with pizza after every workout?
Huh, not exactly. Remember that temptation bundling thing from the summary?
Yeah, I think so.
It's like you only allow yourself to watch your favorite TV show while you're on the treadmill,
Now you're talking. I could totally get behind that.
right? So you're basically turning something you have to do into something you want to do.
That's genius. Any other examples?
Tons. Like maybe you love listening to podcasts? Make a rule. Only podcasts while you're exercising. Or if you're learning a new language, give yourself a little treat after each study session.
So it's about finding ways to make the habit itself more rewarding, right?
Exactly. You got to make it attractive.
2 down, 2 to go. Law number 3. Make it easy, right?
You got it. This is where we tackle that whole feeling of overwhelm.
Oh, yeah. I know that feeling all too well.
Like all about those baby steps. Don't try to change everything at once.
Break it down, make it manageable.
Exactly. Like, let's say you want to build a writing habit.
That's a good one. I could use that.
Don't aim for a novel on day 1. Start with like 1 sentence.
Just 1 sentence, and it seems too easy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But it's about building momentum, proving to yourself that you can do it.
Okay, I see what you mean. Like, trick your brain into thinking it's no big deal.
Exactly. And once you've written 1 sentence, it's way easier to write another and another. Make the starting point so easy, you can't say no.
That's a good strategy. I'm all about avoiding overwhelm.
Right. Make it easy. That's the key.
Okay, final law, make it
Satisfying. This is how we make those habits stick for good. We got to tap into our brain's reward system.
Oh, yeah, that dopamine thing we talked about earlier.
Bingo. Remember that paperclip strategy from the summary?
Vaguely. Remind me.
You move a paperclip from one jar to another each time you complete a rep or read a page, whatever your habit is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a visual way to see your progress.
Ah, right. Like a visual reminder of how much you're accomplishing.
Exactly. And those visual rewards, they can be surprisingly motivating.
Mm.
But it doesn't have to be visual. You can create like little rituals around your habits.
Okay, I like that. Like what?
Maybe you light a scented candle while you're journaling or treat yourself to a special cup of tea after your workout, whatever feels good.
So you're basically associating the habit with something positive, something you actually enjoy.
Exactly. You got to make it satisfying. That's how you create those positive feedback loops that keep you coming back for more.
I'm digging this whole system. It feels very, like, brain hacky, you know?
It is. We're using our brain's own wiring to our advantage.
But hold on, you mentioned earlier how our environment plays a huge role in shaping our habits. It's not just about those obvious cues, right?
Yeah, right. There's more to it. It's also about the people we surround ourselves with,
Yeah.
our social circle, you know?
So like if all my friends are ordering pizza and fries, it's going to be harder for me to stick to my healthy eating goals.
You got it.
Yeah.
But if you join a hiking group or a cooking class,
Yeah.
you're surrounding yourself with people who support those healthy habits.
It's like having a built-in support system.
Exactly. It keeps you accountable.
Yeah.
And it works the other way, too. If you're trying to quit smoking, hanging out with smokers is going to make it way harder.
So it's not just about willpower. It's about setting yourself up for success by creating a supportive environment.
Exactly. And speaking of environment, we got to talk about our digital lives. Our phones, our computers, all that jazz.
Ugh, yeah, don't even get me started on my phone. It's like a black hole of distraction.
Right. All those notifications, those endless feeds, it's all designed to keep us hooked.
I feel personally attacked right now.
But the good news is we can take back control. We can curate our digital environments just like we curate our physical ones.
Okay, so how do we do that?
First step, be mindful of your screen time. Track your usage, set limits, turn off those unnecessary notifications.
I'm guilty of having, like, a million notifications on.
And those apps that you know are sucking up your time and energy, delete them.
Hmm, that's ruthless. I kind of like it.
It's like decluttering your digital life. It's got to be intentional.
Okay, declutter the apps, the notifications. What
Well, think
else?
about the content you're consuming.
Mm.
Is it actually adding value to your life? Is it inspiring you, educating you, motivating you?
We're just adding to the noise.
Exactly. It's all about creating an environment, both physical and digital, that aligns with the person you want to be.
This is all super helpful, but remember that thing about dopamine? I'm still a little fuzzy on how that whole thing works.
Ah, yes, the feel-good chemical.
Help me understand.
Okay, so every time you check your phone and see a new notification or you eat a sugary treat, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine.
Okay.
And that dopamine makes you feel good, right?
Right.
Which is why we keep doing those things.
So we can actually, hack that system, make our desired habits feel just as rewarding as those dopamine hits.
You got it. That's why things like temptation bundling work so well.
Yeah.
You're linking something you have to do with something you want to do.
Ah, so you create that positive feedback loop in your brain. Clever girl.
We're smarter than we think. It's not just about willpower. It's about understanding how our brains work and using that knowledge to our advantage.
Okay, that's starting to click. But didn't the summary mention something else?
It did. It talked about something a little more complex.
Yeah, it was a bit over my head, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it had to do with another aspect of habit formation that Clear dives into. Oh, yeah, it was about habit stacking.
Habit stacking. Okay, I think I've heard of that.
It's this cool idea, you basically link new habits to those that you already have.
Like attaching a new habit to one that's already, automatic.
Exactly. It's like a domino effect,
Yeah.
You get those routines you do without even thinking, like brushing your teeth or making coffee every morning.
Yeah, those are like my autopilot mode.
Right. Those are your anchor habits. And you can use those anchors to, trigger the new habits you want to build.
Oh, I'm seeing it now. So, if I want to start meditating every day, I could stack that habit onto my morning coffee routine.
Perfect example. You finish your coffee, boom, you meditate for 5 minutes. Easy peasy.
I like it. So the trick is to pick an anchor habit that's already solid, something you do without even trying.
Yep. It's got to be something that's already wired into your brain.
Yeah.
Then you just attach the new habit to it and it becomes part of the flow.
No more forcing yourself to do it. It just happens naturally.
Exactly. And the cool thing is you can keep adding new habits as you go. Like after you meditate, maybe you do a quick 5-minute workout. And then after that, you write down 3 things you're grateful for.
Whoa, hold on. So you're saying I can create this whole chain of awesome habits all connected to each other.
You got it. It's
Look.
like building this positive feedback loop. One habit leads to the next, and they all reinforce each other.
That's pretty powerful stuff. But, okay, let's be real. What about those times when we, fall off track?
Oh, yeah, those slip-ups, they happen to the best of us.
Like I'm on a roll with my habits, and then bam, I miss a workout or eat a whole pizza.
It happens. The key is to not beat yourself up about it.
Yeah.
Claire talks a lot about self-compassion.
So no more guilt trips.
Nope. Guilt just makes you want to give up. Instead, you got to acknowledge the slip-up, learn from it, and then focus on getting back on track as quickly as possible.
Easier said than done sometimes. Any tips for actually bouncing back?
Oh, yeah. Clear has tons of strategies for that. Remember the 2-minute rule?
Vaguely. Refresh my memory.
It's all about making the starting point super easy. Like if you missed a few days of exercise, don't jump into an hour-long workout. Just put on your workout clothes and do 2 minutes of stretching.
So you trick your brain into thinking it's no big deal, and then you're more likely to keep going.
You got it. It's about breaking that cycle of inaction. Remind yourself that you are capable of doing the habit.
Okay, I'm liking this. It feels way more manageable than white-knuckling my way through it.
Right. It's about working with your brain, not against it.
I'm really digging all these practical tips. It's we can actually design our lives to support our goals.
Exactly. It's about being intentional, understanding the science of habit formation, and then using that knowledge to our advantage.
I feel like I've learned so much from this deep dive. Small gains, systems, identity-based habits, those 4 laws, the environment, dopamine, habit stacking, dealing with setbacks.
We covered a lot of ground.
It's like a whole new way of thinking about how we can create lasting change.
And the biggest takeaway I hope you'll remember is this. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up for yourself day after day and making those small, consistent choices that lead you toward the person you want to be.
That's a beautiful way to put it. I think it's a perfect place to wrap things up. Thanks for taking us on this incredible journey.
It's been my pleasure. Remember, you have the power to shape your habits, and in doing so, you shape your life.